There we go. Welcome, everyone. This is awesome. We're so excited to share with you this presentation about parenting with principles. And so we're going to continue to share more and develop this more as, as a community. But we're here and we just wanted to share what we have already. We just want to share this quote to start with. The influence of righteous, conscientious, persistent daily parenting is among the most powerful and sustaining forces for good in the world. And this is by an elder in my church, L. Tom Perry. So we all have this beautiful desire, righteous desire to be good parents. And sometimes we don't know exactly what that all looks like. So we repeat the patterns that we see from our parents. And, sometimes we think, we can do a little better. I don't like the way my mom does this or my dad does that. And so I'm just going to do this extra thing. So that's still relying on our own understanding. But when we kind of deconstruct how Heavenly Father parents and apply that to our lives, magic happens, magic. And we are no longer following the way the world parents. And then we see beautiful magic happens in our family. It's not 100% foolproof because even Heavenly Father has rebellious children, right? But it makes a huge difference in your own happiness. And, a lot of parents, they're unhappy. They remain unhappy because they're like, well, I'm not going to be happy until my kids are happy, until life is better. And sometimes they haven't defined what that means. And so they remain unhappy and expect the kids to be happy and figure out what happy is. And then they become happy. So essentially, we're holding our kids responsible for our own happiness. You see what I mean? And it's not fair. They're a lot younger than us. They're less experienced in life than us. And here we are holding them responsible to have a perfect, good life or whatever. And then we can be happy. So we create all of these unnecessary conditions and pressure on them. So hopefully what we talk about today will help you, let that go and make a huge change in your family life. And again, we were talking earlier, but I just wanted to remind us that you take care of you, not that it's selfish, but you take care of you so that you are filled with divine love. And then you have all this extra love and extra light and knowledge and wisdom to offer people. Otherwise, we have nothing to offer. Okay, that's why we want to take care of us first and sort things out here. All right. So here's a quote that I want to share. This is from a book called Doctrine and Covenants 68:12. And again, inasmuch as parents have children in Zion or in any of the states which are organized that teach them not to understand the doctrine of repentance, faith in Christ, the Son of the living God, and of baptism and of the gift of the Holy Ghost by laying on of the hands when 8 years old, the sins be upon the heads of the parents. So sometimes we read this and we think, oh, I better teach my kids. So, you think I'm going to teach them just these beautiful doctrines for, on a weekly basis. Maybe if we're really keen, we'll call that family home evening lesson or something. And you check the box and you think, oh, I did this. Alrighty. And then come to find out it really hasn't sunk in. And over the years some of the kids make these choices and you're like, but I taught them, what's going on? So what we want to do as parents, when we parent with principles, we want to apply the principle in every area of their life, not just here's your religious side, here's your Sunday side. And now that you know, tick those boxes, yay, yay, yay. We want to apply the principles to cleaning up their room. We want to apply the gospel principles to, picking out friends. There's so many areas of life, every area of life, that we can apply the gospel principles. Okay. All right. So why do we teach principles? Before I go into details here, there's this beautiful painting by Del Parson. And this is like a story in the Book of Mormon. Okay. It's a bunch of mothers who send off their sons, their very young sons, and we're suspecting they're like teenagers, sending them off to war. Just look at that mother. She loves, but I think it's just there's a sense of confidence in her too. So can you imagine you being her and thinking, I think I've taught him enough, you know? So I don't know if I can send my kids like that, but yeah, there is this confidence, and like, you know, my children and a lot of my friends, our children are leaving the nest and doing their thing, and you know, we just needed to trust that they know what they're doing now, because we've taught them how to extract the principles from lessons and then apply them to our lives. Okay, the principles can be applied for multiple situations. So unlike rules, where rules apply to a very singular situation, principles can be reapplied to situations that you may not even come up with or think about, you know, but they will encounter on their own. Okay, so it's like giving them tools of how to behave and make choices, good choices. So the story here is these 2,000 young men. They acted so righteously, so powerfully with their faith that they were uninjured. Well, they weren't killed. Some of them were injured, but they weren't killed. They were preserved. And we want that for our children. We want them, even if they're bruised and beaten up a bit, they still can be protected. Okay, and that's the whole goal. And how do we do that without micromanaging, without pushing them away more? Because sometimes we accidentally do that, and we don't know why. The more we teach them and tell them stuff, the more they run away. And you're like, okay, I'm making it worse. And how am I making it worse? How do I do it better? And I believe that this is how parents can help bring their kids back. We have in our church, like in the church that I'm the local congregation that I'm with, there's such a small percentage, even though there's so many of them, so small percentage of the young single adults that are still coming to church, that are still valiant. And the parents are great parents, such great parents, and they just don't know what they've done wrong, that something has caused these kids to be driven away. I actually talked to a parent of one of the students that I have, and he's a member of our church, and I knew exactly why he's so messed up. And then his son in my class is just so messed up too. And you know, the solution is so simple. After I listened to him and I counseled with him after he shared with me his feelings, he was shocked. He was so shocked the solution that I gave him, right? And then he kept texting me thank yous throughout the week, because he feels so different, so much better. But what the real problem was, the source was this very fearful, strict, pushy parenting, you know, pushing the kids to church and shaming the kids when they're not doing the right thing, but not really teaching the kids the real principle behind why they do what they do. Like, why do we go to church? Like, why do we go through these ordinances that really haven't truly helped the child think it through and applied it to their lives? So that's what we want to do today. Okay. So let's ask ourselves, why do we teach principles? Okay. Well, the first answer I came up with is that Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ teach us by principles. When they teach us in the scriptures and we read about those experiences of what they talk about with their with the people that they're surrounded with, that's what it is. Just principles. Okay. And sometimes we hear it, we go, oh, that's beautiful, yeah. But it's like taking the time to apply our agency to have it integrated into our lives is a different matter. So I tell people learning and teaching are two different things. Yeah. All right. So teaching principles help us activate our agency more. That is key. We don't realize that we remove our children's agency when we tell them every little thing, what to do, when we micromanage. Yes, when they're little, you need to explain some things and you need to show them those things. But even so, we explain to the toddlers. We explain, and we keep explaining. Yeah. So I just finish reading this and I'll open the floor. And because that men are redeemed from the fall, they become free forever to act for themselves and not be acted upon. All right. Go ahead, Sierra.
I was just going to share also, not just constantly telling them what to do, but also what I learned, unfortunately, way too late, is I was constantly saving my children. I
Yeah.
was, if they forgot their homework and left it at home, I would run it to the school. Or if they brought the wrong uniform for their practice, I would rush it up to the school so they didn't get a demerit or have to run extra laps. I didn't let them face their consequences, and I always saved them,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize that too was taking away their agency, and that they
Yeah.
need to experience consequences, because we're not always going to be there to save them.
Yeah.
And I,
Mhm.
unfortunately, I mean, my kids were grown when I learned that lesson, but that's also a really important one to remember when it comes to agency. It's not just, bossing them around and telling them exactly what they need to do and think and say and, where, but also
Mhm.
allowing them to face consequences.
Yep, that's such a good reminder. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you shared that, because here we are as parents, we want them to be comfortable, and sometimes we forget the objective of teaching them how to apply their agency. We forget that objective, and our new objective becomes, how do I get my child to be comfortable? Right? So I don't want them to struggle and suffer, like running an extra lap or whatever. Yeah. And we forget that, hang on, that's not the point. They can struggle, they can be uncomfortable, but hopefully they learn how to apply their agency. Yeah. Go ahead. Is it?
I've I found, and I'm working on it now more than I was before, but I would always tell Olivia what she needed to do. And then when she didn't get it done, I would do it for her instead of saying, "Hey, did you get this done?"
Yeah.
And oh, and then I would have already done it for her. So
Yeah.
now, so she would never have consequences
Yeah.
except me yelling at her, which I'm like, okay, I need to stop that
Yeah.
because it's I'm not giving her agency, and two, I'm doing it for her so she doesn't learn anything from it.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh. That's so true. We jump in and we just do it for them, and we think, oh, it's just so much faster if I just do it. But it's not about speed, it's not about convenience, right? And that's why I shared the first slide, because we're actually teaching, we're constantly teaching. And what are we teaching? We're teaching agency, we're teaching atonement. Yeah, so that's such good realization, ladies. And I'm sure a lot of the viewers will relate to you, right? And already Julie's like nodding, and yeah, that's me. Yeah, right. It's just so common. It's we all do that, right? Unless we are aware
yeah,
that we're not. Okay. So, of course, this is from it's a very popular statement that we read in our church here. Joseph Smith, he says, teaching principles and they govern themselves. Govern themselves. another way of saying that is they are using their agency, their freedom of choice. Okay. So important. And when they do govern themselves, like these ladies says, sometimes that means that they have to suffer the consequences, and sometimes they have to take their time learning how to do whatever it is. Okay, so if they didn't clean, the bathroom, it remains dirty until they can't stand it anymore, hopefully. And if something happens and you fix it, they fix it themselves. Okay. Yeah. And this helps us be unattached and respectful of their agency. We have such a better perspective when we're focusing on teaching them principles so that they can apply their agency better. So the principle gives them the why to their action. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then that will bring them the greatest degree of joy. So if you convince yourself, that if I'm teaching them principles properly and they're applying their agency well, then they will have the greatest joy. We want them to be joyful, really. We want them to be comfortable. That's what we were talking about earlier. We want them to not have to suffer so many consequences, because the end goal is hopefully they're joyful. But because they don't suffer the consequences, because they don't understand the principles, we are reducing their joy. And they're miserable, a lot of the kids that are not, active in our church, or, in the church that you guys belong to, if you're not members of our church, they don't have a higher degree of joy. They really don't. They're miserable.
Can I share
Yeah.
something? When I take my son, when we found out he got alopecia and what alopecia is and how depressed he is,
Yep.
yeah, and my other son too, like the fear and everything, and why is that? And I learned something from the counselors that when they want something and you don't give it to them, and then they say, "Oh, this is only way it made me happy, and you don't give to me," and then he said, if you do give to them, you are feeding their habit, and you are feeding they think that joy for them, but that is not joy. It's more darkness in that, and you feeding that darkness continue over and over again. They will never get out of that and have that joy,
Yeah.
because they're in a state of darkness,
Yeah.
and that all they think they want. But if you stand your ground, and the same thing, you have to like, no is a no, but you know why is a no.
Mhm.
And for me, it's like my son keeps saying, "Mommy, oh, I want to play game," and no. And then one time, I asked him to do something, and because he know the consequence, if he don't do it, he cannot continue to play that game every day, right? And for the first time, I say no, and he plead with me. He say, "Oh, I've been waiting," and my heart was like, "Should I give him?" Because poor guy. But then I didn't. I didn't. I say nope. The consequence is that what you choose, and you know it. I explained to you, and you know, and you still choose not to do what I asked you to do, or not, And then for the first time, my heart was like understand that, but also free the same time. I'm so proud of myself to stand that ground, and then from that day on, it's different with him.
Yeah. Yes.
He treat
Because
me different too.
you're firm and you're confident.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you brought up a really good point, Julie, there, because a lot of us parents, when we don't know better, we are so attached to them. And when we're attaching to them, then it's sort of like giving them permission to blame, and
Mm.
complain about
Yeah.
us, because
Yeah.
now we're owning their choices.
Yeah.
And
I
so they get to turn
yeah.
around and say, well, you made me, or you did whatever. And so,
Yeah.
it just opens a whole world of, whinging.
Yeah. I come strong at that you choose to be sad, you choose to do all this, then you cannot blame me.
Yeah,
I understand that why you're sad, but you still choose, not me make you sad,
yeah, that's
other
right.
stuff. And oh my goodness,
Remember
yeah.
that what I said this is what I said to Julie, and
Yeah.
like, seriously, her eyes were like popped
Yeah.
out of her head. I said, the feelings are within you and you're responsible for fixing it.
Yeah.
Because you're feeling it inside your heart, right? No one else is feeling it around, right? So no one can make you feel anything. It's the way your body or your mind interprets things, and your feelings are inside of you. So you are responsible for fixing it. So
Yep.
here, this is an awesome quote. Here's Elder Richard G. Scott, another leader in our church. He says, as you seek spiritual knowledge, search for principles. Search for principles. And this is why I asked why until we've got to the core principles. Carefully separate them from the details used to explain them. Okay, that's why when people tell me stories, I'm listening. I'm not listening for necessarily the story. I'm listening for what principles wasn't understood. Yeah. So, on the weekend when Julie and I are together, she's explaining here, though so-and-so said so-and-so, and then this one person said this and that and that and that. And I said, okay, let's keep going, and boom, there's the principle, right? So the details, it doesn't matter so much, okay? It's actually the principles that we haven't understood. So here's principles are concentrated truth. Isn't that cool? Concentrated truth. So we can say, well, I go to church because I have good friends. Well, yeah, that's true, but that's not the true principle behind why we go to church. You see what I mean? And we can't just stop there. We need to dig deeper until we find the actual concentrated truth, packaged for application to a wide variety of circumstances. As I said earlier, it's not like rules where you only apply it in a singular situation. You can use this principle and apply it over and over and over in all of these areas. Okay, it's just unlimited. The true principle makes decisions clear, even under the most confusing and compelling circumstances. And that's the thing. We're so scared that our kids might make mistakes and stuff. But, in this world where things can be confusing, they won't be confused if they understood the principles. And you won't be confused either, right? It is worth great effort to organize the truth we gather to simple statements of principle. Right? That is so big. Like teaching your kids to clean house. Why? Because, mum wants to. No, why? Because we like clean house. All the way, just keep on asking and asking until you say, God is organized. There's an order, a house of order, a house of prayer. We can feel the spirit better. So, dig down to this one statement, right? And once you get that, then it's like, oh, I did it. I nailed it. That is why. Okay. Principles are anchors of safety. Here we are as parents, we really want our kids to be safe. Here is how we really, really keep them safe. Okay, all of the self-inflicted tragedy that occurs today from violation of the Lord's commandments could be avoided by careful, consistent observance of revealed truth. Okay, the productive power of correct principles can make your life a joyous, satisfying experience. How about that? Yeah. So once your kids understand that I want to be like God, and God's organized and orderly and intelligent, whatever they choose to whatever principle they choose to adopt from that, they will consistently not just keep their bedroom clean, but then they will keep their car clean and their notebooks organized and clean. You see what I mean? And maybe their body and their appearance clean and organized. And they can apply it in lots of ways. Yeah. So we don't have to be telling them all those little things anymore. It's all taken care of. Yeah. And we can be the example of application as well. What do you guys think about this? Isn't that great?
That's what I'm working on right now.
Those are principles that I did not learn as a kid. And and it's very hard to teach your children when
Yep.
even as an adult you don't already have this principle down. So it's been interesting watch or hearing from my children that they actually see my efforts in growth and in change, and in owning mistakes and owning faults, and apologizing for them rather than being like, because I said so, I'm your mom, just listen to what I say. You know, like the change that they've seen in me, and they're, 23, 25, and about to be 27. So they've noticed and they've talked about it with me, and they're just, I just wish I could have done it sooner, so that these principles were taught to them as children. And I just think what's super important now is that we are setting them up for greater success with their own children, and that next generation can benefit from everything that we can learn.
Yeah, I love that. I love it, Sierra. You know, we get it. We get why we didn't do it well, because we didn't know. And I love that you are just so honest with yourself, and you don't beat yourself up, and you're like, okay, this is how it is. I'm going to do better, and my kids' futures are going to be better. So I love that positive perspective. Yeah. Thank you so much for your share, and welcome, Ems. I missed you. All right, so here we really need to remember that the glory of God is intelligence. The glory, remember, glory is light, and it's intelligence. So we need to stand in the light. We're talking about the more we give in and let the kids blame and complain, it just keeps creating darkness. The plan of salvation is the plan of intelligence. The plan of salvation is plan of intelligence, isn't it? Because there's different glories. And glory, if glory is intelligence, then it's the plan of intelligence. Do you agree? It's not intelligent as in knowing lots and lots of facts. It's just applying the wisdom, the light, and making decisions that create more light for me. Yeah. So that's one of the things I teach my kids. And the principle is the principle of light. Okay, so when they make a decision, I say, check the light. You know, we're in the gray, and I made a choice. Is it getting brighter and brighter, or is it getting darker and darker? You know, just a simple, silly, well, it's not silly. I guess it's important for them at this time of their lives. But when I shared it with them, I decided between going and becoming a teacher and then becoming a lawyer. And at first I chose to be a lawyer, went to a university in Sydney. And I thought, okay, let's see where this decision leads me. And the more I did that, personally, the more I got this feeling of darkness, right? And the more I forced myself forward, the more miserable I got. And I realized I need to make a change. I'm experiencing divine discontent. Prayed, fasted, and then I got my revelation, and then I made a better choice for me. Okay, not that law is bad, but when I decided to do teaching, it just everything fell into place. And then I continued on that path, continued to move forward, applied for the program and got in, and then got into the university I wanted, got into the program I wanted. It just kept going, and the light just kept brighter and brighter. So that's what I teach my kids. It's like, look around, experience that light. And sometimes before you even make big when you make a choice in your head, before you even move forward, you're already experiencing either the light or the darkness. Okay, so that's principle. And so you can't say, well, it's a good idea for you to be this and you to be that, but we don't know what careers are good for our kids, or we don't know what boyfriend, what girlfriend is good for them. Of course, we can see by, some of the things that they do, like, yeah, that's a good kid, right? But we don't know what the Lord's will is for them. So as parents, it's really, good, much better for us to teach them principles. Do you feel more light? Yeah. So if you made this choice to hang out with this boy, do you feel more light? Does he help you become a more godly, intelligent person, more loving, happy, more peaceful. Because it will continue on that path. Okay. So that's one of the most powerful principles, because we do want to be like God, and God is light, and light is intelligence and wisdom. But I have commanded you to bring up your children in light and truth, and I feel like that's how I applied that. Adam fell that men might be, men are that they might have joy. Do we know what will bring our children the greatest degree of joy? Okay, so that's another principle. The principle of joy, right, comes from light. And sometimes people confuse it with fun. Okay, if my kids are having fun, then they're joyful. That is not true. Because when they come back from whatever fun, they are miserable and they feel hollow. The light fills their soul. So if we're very, very clear, we can be firm in where we're leading our children. Okay, this is one of the most basic principles that we can teach, but it's so, so powerful. And you can see that in them, the way they dress. They dress more light, right? And their bedroom is more light. It just everywhere, everything reflects it. Yeah. Okay. The work and the glory, God's work and glory is to bring to pass immortality and eternal life of man. Okay. So he's shedding his light onto us. And this is why we have the two greatest commandments, right? Love is a commandment. And remember, love is a commandment. It's not a reward. So think about that. We'll explore that some more. And God is love and God is intelligence. So really, love and intelligence, they're very close together. Yeah. Okay, it's a commandment. We are commanded to have more light. We're commanded to have more love. When you fill up your soul with this light of God, you can impart that light to your children. A lot of moms think that they have to have the answers to everything. The kids run to them and need that solace and need comfort. And, you're the mom, you should know stuff. And then you're beating yourself up because you don't know stuff. You can't let them know that. That's okay. You can let them know, because that's, know where the source of light is. So I'm going to pray to Heavenly Father and figure this one out. This is a new challenge for us. You go and you pray in your closet as well, and we'll come back together and see what light and intelligence and love we receive from the Lord. Okay, and we can discuss the revelations that we both receive. So this is huge. Okay, if I can just help parents, if we have new parents or whatever, just one little thing, this will be the main thing I talk about. That love, that intelligence from God. Okay, so that's your purpose, is to help them receive more love and light. Okay, then they will have more joy. And the comfort comes after as well, right? It's settled and they're safe. Okay, so I talked about this before, guys, and this is so, so prevalent now. The more I see our parents around me, because I teach school right now as well, the more parents think that teaching your children, this is talking about intelligence, teaching your children, and if they remember, they regurgitate, see the bottom level, they've learned. They really haven't learned. So when you ask kids Sunday school things and they give Sunday school answers, they haven't learned. I've asked parents in our the women's group, we call it Relief Society, they're like, yeah, I taught my kids. Yeah, I taught my kids. And the thing is, you haven't finished teaching them until they are creating with that principle. Okay, so you're not done, guys, until they're creating with it. And when we talk about principles, we teach them what it is, and then we help them have understanding, help them apply it, help them analyze, and help them evaluate. And that's why we ask lots of questions. Why? What do you think that? How can you tell, right? How can you tell if that's a good decision? Oh, because I'm getting, more light and everything's falling into place. Excellent, right? That's how you know that they're graduating. But if they can just spit the Sunday school answer, but they're physically dark and they physically are not making those decisions, they have not learned. Yeah. And I tell my kids, you still have that information in your head. It hasn't anchored and pierced your heart, and your hands are not creating with that knowledge, with that intelligence. So head, heart, hand. Yeah. It hasn't sunk in deep. They may apply it, but it hasn't, been analyzed. So you're using your God-given intelligence to analyze and sort and judge and decide. I decide this is a good thing. I decide that this is part of who I am. I decide that this is my identity now. Like I'm a clean person, I'm a loving person, whatever. I receive love, all of those principles, right? That's so important. Yeah. Okay. So we're not done until they have this higher order of thinking. Yep. Okay. And so we can't make excuses for them, right? I've seen lots of parents go, oh, well, she knows that at this point in time, this and this and this and this. She doesn't know. He doesn't know, right? Until they've made that choice. Yeah. Okay. So this is why I remind our friends, we are intelligent beings. This is a plan of intelligence. Okay. And in order for them to be able to do that, they're applying their agency to create. And I was telling Julie, creating means you manifesting with God. Even in Vietnam, we were just, waking up in the morning, we say our prayers, and sometimes we read a scripture or two. Sometimes we normally read it at night, but we just needed it extra. And then, our friends on like maybe the time difference. Anyways, I say to the kids, okay, what do you guys want to manifest today? And one kid might say, oh, I really need a new pair of sandals, or I would like to see this and this and this, or I'd like to eat flan or whatever, just something small. But you voice it up, and then everyone is witnessing. And throughout the day, when it happens, it's like, yay. And even if it's like, we're looking for it, but we happen to see it, and then, oh, what are the chances? This is amazing. We feel like we've created with the Lord. It's a silly, simple thing to do, but it's powerful because you train your spirit to keep on doing that with the Lord. Because otherwise, the kids will say, well, it just was an accident, or you worked hard, mom and dad, that's why you got money, But when you prepare the kids by saying, well, what do we want to create with the Lord? We want the Lord to help us buy a new car or buy a new house or whatever. And when it does happen, it's easier for them to attribute it to the Lord instead of, oh, mom and dad, you just worked your butt off and that's why you got that. Yeah. No, you got flan because you were looking for it. Well, no, we were looking for it, but still it came at this time today, and we just mentioned it this morning, and yeah, so good. My Emily, she wanted a nice pair of comfortable shoes for her mission, and what else did she want? She wanted a scarf because she works with Ben and it's really cold in winter, so she wanted a new scarf. Anyways, that one day she's like, yeah, I want this, but I'm not going out today. I need to stay home, and we need to do this interview and all these things. So I'll be home for half a day. So I gotta do stuff, but I'll go out later on. We'll look for those things. But when we got home, we presented her those things that we found. It was just perfect, exactly the way she visualized it. I found a pair of shoes for her. Tori soft pairs of shoes, and it just worked out. And here she is, like, her faith grew, and that's the point, right? We're learning how to create with the Lord. Yep. All right. So, earlier I talked about an example. Hang on, I'm going to help. Yeah, the example of just cleaning the house. Well, what would normally, what would parents say? Or how would you do it now that you know better? How would you like distill the principles, the concentrated truth, in like a simple, common situation like cleaning house? Or how would you explain it to your children? How do you explain it to a 5-year-old?
I just had this conversation with my 6-year-old.
Oh yeah, there we go.
He's like, Mom, he says our house is ugly and it needs to be upgraded. And I said, oh, it does? And he's like, yeah. I said, okay, well, where can we start? And I said, how about we start in your room? We can clean and upgrade your room. So we started with that, and he just kind of like what you said, manifesting, with God. He wants because my daughter moved out, so he has a room to himself now. He's like, I want a Pikachu room. I'm like, okay. So, we talked about what kinds of things he wanted, where he wanted the certain things to go, after he cleaned up. So yeah, just having, and now that it's cleaner, he has his diffuser going, he has his own stuff, so he has his little routine now. And I said, doesn't it feel so good? He's like, yeah, Mom, now it's your turn to say prayer. I'm like, okay. So we take turns saying prayer together as he's learning to, clean up after himself right now in his room, and waiting for Mommy to upgrade the rest of the house.
Yeah, so that's good. You're teaching him that his room is a place where he can say prayer. We use this arrow and ask why a lot. So I had a lady tell me, I did your arrow thing. And I was like, I don't understand what you're talking about. And I guess when I was doing a session with her, I asked her, why do you want that? And then I put an arrow over, and then she explained. And then I said, well, then why did you want this? And then kept arrowing. So she calls it the arrow thing. So yeah, go ahead, Sierra.
I was just gonna say, I think I would approach the thing about cleaning the house by showing them examples of how good they feel when things are neat and organized and tidy. How it feels like less stressful and just more comfortable, and just like I would focus on the good feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And say, hey, if we want those really great feelings, then what do we need to do? What do we need to do to get great feelings back again? And I would focus on it that way if I could go back in time and do that.
Yeah, I love that. So you're saying, oh, here's the reason you feel good. You feel happy, and just this happy feeling. Okay, so you give them the why, and then we should ask ourselves again, why do I want to feel happy and comfortable? Because we're trying to distill the concentrated principle, right? Yeah.
And
So
there's an energy in a clean home.
yes, we have good energy.
Yeah, when there's clutter, personally for me, I struggle.
Yeah.
Some people think it's OCD, but I was like, no, like opening the windows in the mornings, letting that air flow, clean air,
Yeah.
burning the diffusers, and having a clean space. Like,
Yeah.
I just think it's an energy that is clean and pure. And I feel it invites the spirit because there's order. We talk
Yes.
about order. God speaks of order. There's order, a house of order, a house of prayer, right? Who wants
Yes.
to see disaster on the floor and dirt? And
Yeah.
so I feel it, for me personally, it's an energy thing as well.
Yep. And you, Susanna, you nailed it there. So reason, right? You keep on asking yourself why. Yeah, why? Because it's good energy. Why? Because you feel good. So you have happy feelings, and then you find the principle at the end. Can you see here the last arrow here? You find the principle, and that's the real reason. You said that God is orderly. and I want to be like God, so I will be orderly. Okay, so we even with a 5, 6-year-old, M's 6-year-old, right? Why are we all cleaning your room? Why are we, renovating the house to make it nice and updated? Because God's a God of order. We want to be like Him, right? And here's the reason why. Okay, because it's not Mum's job. It's not Mum's friends are coming over. It's none of that, right? We really, really need to help them find that true principle. And then because you know that's true principle, they can apply it to the other areas of their lives. Yes? Yeah. So we can take this example and say, oh, why do you go to school? Oh, so I can get good grades, so I can get good job. Yeah, why should we have a good job? Why should we have good grades? Because then we can make money. Why should we have money? Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going until you find the reason. Well, actually, you're going to school because the glory of God is intelligence. Okay, we learn how to reason, we learn how to critically think, right? And that helps us get a job and yes, get money, yes. But here we are, we're training our brain so we can be more like God, right? Because God is intelligent. And so therefore, this is the real reason, okay, for our education. So they will learn more than what the teacher tells them. They will engage in other skills, that the school doesn't teach them. They don't teach them how to do accounting, and write down your expenses, and budget and stuff on your, allowance or whatever. They don't, not really. Okay, all these skills you need to learn on your own and you need to pick it up. And the reason why you learn is because the glory of God is intelligence. You see that? And we keep doing that. Why do we want, in our church, we want to be married in the temple? Why do we want to be married in the temple? Because then we learn how to be one. Okay. We want to create with somebody. And so because of that principle, because I taught the kids that principle, you're not getting a husband because he's a hottie. You're not getting somebody so that he could, buy you flowers and take good care of you, right? Because I've seen so many women and they give me so many different reasons. The main reason is for them to create. And now, my kids are looking for people who are equal to them so that can create together. They don't need to find a guy that can babysit, or they don't need to find a guy who is a hero. They're looking for somebody who has their same values. And then it creates this need for them to make a list of what are my values. And then because I'm clear on my values, now I know exactly who I'm looking for. Okay, so it just opens up a whole new pathway of intelligence there. Okay, so we're marrying because we want to have this intelligence with and creating with our spouse. Yeah. So I love this. Love is spelled T-I-M-E. Take the time to teach through example and thinking aloud. Show them the gospel works. And we mentioned that earlier. Let's pray for, a new car, or pray for whatever this is that we need to do. And then, when it happens, the kids can see that, that's how you apply these principles. Okay. So that's really important. The time that we spend together, not necessarily time for us to entertain all the time. We can do things with our kids. If you're going to, when I was younger, I felt like I needed to exercise, and I just thought, oh, I'll just wait for the kids to go to sleep or, whatever, and then I can do it. I thought, and then realized I can do it with them, right? And like somebody said to me, oh, I can't travel anymore because now that you have kids. I'm like, no, I'm going to travel with them. I'll do things with them. Okay, so it kind of reminds us that we can show the kids how to apply principles as we live our life as well. Okay. I just wanted to share a few more things here before we end. There's the 4 types of parenting. Remember, there's that neglectful parenting, which we know what that looks like. And there's permissive. And the permissive parents, the main thing that they do is they want their kids to think that they're good parents. They need their kids to approve of them. They don't want their kids to be mad or sad because of them. They're so afraid that the kids don't like them. Okay, and that's why they're permissive. And being permissive, you know, it's unsettling for the child because the parent is not confident and there's no solid foundation for them to lean on. And eventually the kids will try to lean on something else and someone else because the parents are not stable enough and firm enough to be relied upon. Okay, so authoritarian, kind of like this picture. I'll tell you what to do. I'm the boss. You can't think, you can't do stuff until I give you permission. Okay, so that's taking away their agency also. Okay, not good. I believe that Heavenly Father is the authoritative parent. So authoritative parents means they know what will bring them the greatest degree of joy. And we mentioned that this already previously. The greatest degree of joy will come when they can adopt more light and more love in their life, more divine love, okay, and, you know, be firm in that. So when they have those skills, okay, and so you know what will help them have more light and love in their life. And when you're firm, they can go and do their thing and mess up and whatever, but they know, oh, in the end, my parents are right. This is where it is, right? And because you're applying the gospel and it works for you, okay, you sell the gospel well. You'll sell it well. Because if you're a martyr, right, you're not selling the gospel well, they would not want to be like you. I want to grow up happy, but look at you, you're miserable. You're not happy. Why should I be like that? Okay, but if you're happy and you've made good choices, covenants, and you're doing the things that are empowering to you, right? And you tell them this is the formula. I've learned these principles, right? And then you let them govern themselves, use their agency, apply that principle or not, up to them. I feel strongly that, you know, the kids will come back to this confident parent or the way that you live. All right. Any questions, comments? All right. So, you know, why we talk about principles, because principles help them find the strong beliefs and thoughts, right, that drive action. And the actions create results. That's pretty much it. Okay, because we're helping them find truth. Right. If kids don't understand why, it's harder for them to take action, right? Because mommy said so. But why? But why? Okay, be that confident, authoritative parent. All right, we talk about testimony because in our church we talk about the glories. Okay, it's the highest glory of God are these people with a testimony. What is a testimony, you guys? Yeah, Sierra.
It's sharing your beliefs, your thoughts, and the truths that you've come to know as knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
It is being able to share those things with other people.
Yep. So this is sharing. So you can share through actions and words, right? And it's just stuff that you know and that have anchored you. So we talked about that tree. So these principles have anchored you, right? And keeps you safe and helps you be confident, right? So I feel like it is faith in action, a testimony. Yep, because you're sharing it, you're doing it, but it's agency to apply the atonement. And you're moving information from your head to your heart and then to your hands. It's anchoring in your heart and then to become more like God. I think that's what a testimony really is. As in the sense that we are, you know, these celestial kingdom citizens, right? These people who have a strong testimony, they know how to act. They can't just no. Yeah, I have a strong testimony, this and this and this, and then they, you know, that's just a Sunday spiel, and then Monday they're not. So that's really not a true testimony, and that's not what they're talking about. You know, what celestial kingdom citizens are doing. They're valiant in the testimony of Christ. I truly feel like they know how to apply the atonement. And again, applying the atonement is knowing that they can mess up, and that, you know, that the Lord can compensate. Maybe you didn't know better, now you know better, but all the pains and the losses will be compensated. I'm just going to learn how to activate my power of choice, become responsible, and create. Because I talk about, you know, our goal, you know, in teaching the youth is to help them build a testimony. And this is what it really is for me, at least. What do you guys think?
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah. You only take action because you understand principles. Okay. And so when we talk about, hey, parents, help your kids build a testimony, really, it's like, hey, parents, help kids distill the principles which will drive action so they can become more like God. Yeah. We're not done until they're creating. We're not done teaching until they're creating with God. And then it shows that this is the kind of people that are going to be hanging out in the celestial kingdom. Yeah. All right. So I want to end here. Remind us that love is a commandment, not a reward. And this can be applied in lots of ways. Some women, they think it's a reward, so they have conditional love for themselves. Well, I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not enough. And therefore, no, I'm last. No, don't love me. Don't accept me. And then, you know, you feel hurt when you see all this evidence around you. And then when you're trying to teach your kids and they're not listening and not trying to do the right thing, they're copying you. They're copying you in rejecting love. And it's frustrating. But they want your love because they don't know how to receive and create their own. Sierra.
I think that's another really great thing to make sure that we teach our children, is that even in their mistakes or even failures, because we have to succeed eventually. I mean, we're going to go through several failures. And we need to instill that we love them, and that we're proud of their efforts, regardless of, you know, the ups and downs along their path. Because like, I truly felt like growing up, the only time that I was loved was when I was super successful at something.
Mhm.
When I was a winner, then I was loved. And I, even though I loved my children all of the time, as an adult, it was really hard for me to face listening to my children tell me, yeah, but when we messed up with something, you really made us feel like we had done something horribly wrong. Like
Mhm.
we had really failed, you know, not just made a mistake or had a learning lesson or whatever. It was hard for me to face as an adult, like, oh, you know, I thought I had taught
Mhm.
them that I love them all the time, but there were times where they felt like they weren't sure because of my reactions to failure.
Mhm.
So we need to, like, I see these short little videos sometimes of mothers going, you know, that's okay. Like, okay, you didn't succeed this time. So how can we do better next time to try again? Um, I wish I had had those kind of lessons earlier. So like, those are the kind of things I'm talking to my kids about now, so that when they have kids eventually, that they'll be able to do those things with their kids.
Yeah, that's so good. I'm glad you mentioned that. We don't realize that we're loving ourselves conditionally. And then it kind of reflected in our children. Yeah. So that's why, you know, this is important. It's a commandment. So just do it. Just do it. And
That's a really good point that you said. ourselves. Sometimes
Yeah.
we love ourselves conditionally as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
And we need to love ourselves all the time, even when we fail.
Yes. Yeah.
So when our children see us like hate on ourselves or put ourselves down or ridicule ourselves, tear ourselves apart emotionally
Yeah.
or spiritually even, they're watching and they're learning. So
Yeah. No, I still have to undo it with my two older kids. And when I mess up, I'm like, and then punish myself. That was in the past, and then I'm watching them now, and they're trying to undo that as well. And really, the consequence sucks, and you're like, oh man, that sucks, and I feel that. But we don't need to go beyond that and keep on, pouring lemon into that little cut, and then suffering needlessly. I'm going to love myself, and I'm going to allow myself to have a redo. And let's try it again. Let's try. And I'm teaching even the kindergarten kids. I'm like, oh, we made a mistake. Oh no. What do we say, guys? Oh no, let's try again. And so this little people are saying, oh, let's try again. Because in the past, sometimes they'll just stand there and just cry and cry. I'm like, that's okay. Just wipe it off. It's the whiteboard. Just the simplest things. They punish themselves because they learn that from their adults. So it's so sad, but reminding yourself that it is commandment, right? That it's getting more light into your life, more love into your life, and not to hold it out as a reward. Goodness me. Yeah. Or this one more thing. If we don't understand this, we are going to manipulate. All right. I'm going to be mad at you because you didn't do the right thing by me. Because that shows me that you didn't love me. Okay. Wives do that a lot with their husbands. I'm just so mad because you didn't do this. Okay. We can be mad at situations. Yes. But if we remember to love ourselves as a commandment, then it eliminates a lot of manipulation. It's like subconscious. Of course, we don't mean it, but it's a subconscious thing. Yeah. And you see that in parents and friendships and things too. Like, I'm not talking to you because you didn't do this and this, which means you don't love me. Yeah. So if we love ourselves and stuff, we won't be tempted to do that to others. Yeah. All right, guys, I feel like I can stop the recording because we've got some, things that we can share off the record here. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'll stop the recording here. And